Hi there, and welcome to Understanding Your Business Better, a vodcast by Telkom Business. I am your host, Tay Champagne, and today we're going to be talking about sustainability. Many small businesses struggle with brand visibility and navigating the digital space. So we're chatting to digital marketer, Mr. Pat Mahlangu from Lerato Agency. How are you today?
Very well, thanks, and happy to be here.
We're glad to have you. Without further ado, let's dive in. We hear the term marketing get thrown around time and time again, but I want to know, what do you think is essential for a small business to develop a strong marketing strategy, especially for business owners that don't have a background in marketing?
Yeah, so the first thing I want to say about marketing really, particularly when it comes to small businesses, many of them see marketing as just an expense and not something that's really worth sort of investing in. Yet it's so important when it comes to growing your business. Without a brand, without a good marketing strategy, you're really sort of setting up your business for failure. So what's important when you develop a marketing strategy is that at the core of a winning marketing strategy is the customer. You really need to understand who your customers are, where are they, and develop ways in terms of communicating with them in a very effective manner. So one of the ways really, obviously, more recently, digital marketing has become sort of at the core of many marketing communications, simply because of the lockdown and everything that came with it, that people were not out there, people were no longer sort of being exposed to traditional ways of communications, like out of home, if you look at things like billboards, street pole advertising and whatnot. But then if you look at where people spend most of their times lately, it's on their mobile phones. And that's where an opportunity really is for many small businesses. And what I want to also emphasize is that with digital marketing, it has democratized how people build and grow their brands. Previously, you needed a lot of money to be able to build a brand, to be known and to be seen, and also ultimately to get people to fall in love with your brand. But with the emergence of social media and digital marketing, it's really opened up opportunities for anyone, to build their own brands.
And be able to communicate that product to the customer.
Absolutely.
In what you said, though, about how it's democratized marketing, do you not think, though, it then puts more pressure to grab the customer's attention in a way that really stands out, because now you have so many more competitors flooding your customer's attention? You're competing, instead of 8 or 9 big brands competing, it's 1,000 little brands competing,
Absolutely. I think attention is a big thing. And I think when it comes to building a brand, obviously you want to capture the attention of your customers and potential customers alike. But then again, that's where creativity comes in. You know what I mean? So now people need to think differently and do things differently if they want to capture the attention of the intended audience. So creativity really now separates the average brands from the great brands. And I'm pretty sure if I were to ask you right now, which brand comes top of mind when it comes to chicken, for example, there's probably one brand that will jump off your mind, because they've been so creative in terms of putting their brand out there, that immediately when you think chicken, you think that particular brand. And obviously, chicken brands, again, they're very creative, almost all of them. But if I say a South African chicken brand, there's 1 or 2 that will come out tops, simply because of how they built their brand and how they use creativity to communicate their brand.
That's very interesting that you touched on creativity, because we hear the term unique selling proposition being thrown around. Can you help us define that term and how a business can understand and communicate what their unique selling proposition is?
Your USP is really what sets you apart from your competitors. For example, if you are a delivery business, one of the things you'd say as a USP is that you've got super efficient vehicles. Therefore, your cost of delivering per kilometer is less than most average businesses. For example, so USP is what sets you apart. And I mean, really also again, at this stage, it's somewhat difficult also to come up with a very unique selling point because, like we were saying earlier, we have access to the same technologies and same platforms as bigger brands, for example. So we're all using the same tools, for example. I mean, there's only so much really that you can use to separate yourself from the rest. But then again, this is not to say that there is no opportunity for innovation. So with your USP, you really need to look at your market holistically and think of what is that one thing that we can do well that it'll be hard for other businesses to copy. And you put your time in that and you implement it. And when you implement it, make sure that you implement it so well that your customers are happy and ultimately they do the marketing for you. So a unique selling point really boils down to what makes you different as a business, what makes you different from your competitors, what makes you come across as being unique by your customers. Because at the end of the day, you can say, this is our USP, but if your customers also are not receptive of that USP, you might find that your business will struggle.
And since we're talking in the context of small businesses, how can small businesses that don't necessarily have that big corporate budget take advantage of cost-effective ways and social media in order to tell their brand story?
Like I did mention earlier, social media has democratized brand building and also has given many people a voice to say something and to be something. So the biggest thing around the use of social media is that every small business owner needs to be intentional about what they want to achieve out of social media. But also, it's all good and well to set up a social media page, to have a Facebook account, an Instagram account, a LinkedIn page. But then again, there's another layer. So social media has many layers to it. And everything is so interconnected in a way that if one really sort of fails, you're not going to see the full benefits of social media. So content is another one. So like I did mention, you set up your Facebook page, but if it's just there sitting static, nothing happening, really not gonna see the benefits of social media. So now content, what kind of content are you gonna put out there on social media? Because at the end of the day, when you build a brand, the ultimate thing really is that even though you're speaking to someone who's not really a customer at the moment, but should they have the need for your product or service, you should be the first one they think of. So staying top of mind. And how you do that is through content. So now you need to put out content that not only benefits you as a business, or you always now pushing brand all the time, because if it's all about you might end up switching certain people off, because like this guy is always telling us to buy. Actually, I'm gonna unfollow them because I'm not getting any benefit from them. So social media allows brands to be sort of innovative in a way they communicate, how they use content as well. So create content that is of benefit to your customers. Take time to educate your customers about your brand. And also a great opportunity again to sell. In marketing, we speak about the marketing funnel, all the way from creating awareness down to actually people buying and becoming your loyal customers. And that I think is a very important tool, and that's why you need someone who's knowledgeable about marketing in your business, to work with. Because if you just get someone who says, look, I know how to use social media, most businesses actually go for people that are popular on social media, to do their social media. It's one thing to be popular on social media, but it's another to actually running a business through social media as well. So when you look at the marketing funnel, starting from building awareness for your brand, generating interest for your brand, converting your customers to buy into your brand and actually keeping them. So it's a step-by-step thing, and each layer requires you to communicate in a specific way. You know, for example, if the objective is to build brand awareness, you won't do this. You won't be hard selling to your customers, for example. And also, when you look at digital marketing, it's not only social media. There's other facets of digital marketing. If you look at email marketing, it still is a very effective tool to reach your customers and actually keep your customers engaged and to stay top of mind. We also have online display advertising. You know, advertising on third-party websites. You look at websites that have a high traffic of visitors, then that's where you can advertise. And again, you look at things like, obviously, social media is another one, and stuff. So there's multiple touch points from a digital marketing, and also, like I say, when you develop your digital marketing strategy, each, like for example, for conversion, email usually works better than social media. But then social media works better from a brand building, a visibility, awareness type of objectives. So everything now, we talk about an integrated digital marketing strategy. The same way, big brands who've got like big budgets, they can be on TV, they can be on billboards, they can be on digital and social media, for example. So why is it that they're doing it that way? It's not because they have a lot of money to just throw around, but the attention that we were talking about earlier is that everywhere you see them, the brand sticks. So if you drive out now, you see a billboard on the side of the road, say you see brand A. When you open your phone on social media, you see brand A. You know, when you watch TV, you see brand A. Whenever you need a service or a product that's similar to brand A, who are you gonna think of? Brand A. So that's what it's about. It's really about leveraging each platform for its potential that it offers.
And I really like what you said about social media having various layers. You know, something I've seen on Facebook is that a lot of people use it to review businesses, to give feedback on what they thought. And it raises the question, how important is customer service to a business's success? And do you think there's such thing as brand loyalty, especially with smaller to medium businesses?
Customer service is very important, you know, especially when you're starting out. Because if you deliver good customer service, then you're going to be able to earn the trust of your customers. And ultimately, happy customers tell other people about your brand. So word of mouth then becomes a thing, you know. But if you deliver a very poor customer service, then the likelihood that I will recommend your brand to someone else is very slim. Or actually, it's almost non-existent, because, I mean, if I'm not happy with the service that you delivered, then why should I take my time, you know, advocating for you to other people? So most small businesses, obviously, they'll be good at what they're doing. For example, I mean, we know stories of like mechanics in the township, you know, whereby the guy really knows what they're doing technically. You know, they know their ways around the cars, you know, fixing cars and. But then again, the service that accompanies that, you know, it's just poor. You know, and what ends up happening is that you deliver your car today and they'll tell you, no, your car will be ready at 5 p.m. You know, they're like, okay, cool, happiness, and this is how much we'll charge you. Then you come back at 5 p.m. and they're like, oh, we're not done with your car. You know, actually, I just realized that the work is not actually what we thought it would be. Therefore, your invoice will go up by 50% or whatever amount, and that's just, you know, puts you off. You know, the lack of sort of professionalism and just being a customer service-centered business is just not there, and ultimately that really sort of works against you. You know, and also we've seen with businesses that really put customer service or good customer service at the forefront, they succeed. You know, if you look at a business like Amazon, you know, Jeff Bezos was so obsessed in the beginning. I'm sure he still is now, but according to the book that I read, The Everything Store, about how Amazon started, he was obsessed with good customer service. You know, he would rather, you know, fire his staff who didn't do like a proper job in delivering a product to their customers than actually lose a customer because of poor customer service. So customer service actually can really make or break any business. You know, good customer service, I strongly advocate for it, because at the end of the day, we all know it costs a lot to get a customer, to get one customer. Actually, it costs 5 times more to get a new customer than to keep an existing one. So it's in your benefit as a small business owner to ensure that you provide good customer service. And also that feedback loop you were talking about, it's important, you know, even though the customer don't complain. Actually, most South African, particularly black customers, we don't like complaining. You know, we'd much rather keep quiet and walk away and never come back than actually give you feedback and complain about a poor customer service. So as a small business owner, you'd be surprised, be like, why aren't people coming back? You know, I mean, last week we had customer A came here, we gave them service. I mean, they should be coming back in the next month or two, but they're not coming back. You know, you keep on, you should get new customers coming in, but they never come back. And sometimes, if you don't have that feedback loop, you don't send a survey, or you don't take the time to call a customer to say, actually, you were at our studios, for example, for XYZ. How was the service? You know, was it great? Was it not? Is there something that you're not happy about? Is there something that you think we should improve on? Then also, most customers, I mean, most companies or small or businesses tend to be like that, you know, call their customers, asking for feedback and whatnot, but they don't implement the feedback. That's also another challenge. So it's all good and well to get that customer feedback, but what you do with it then becomes a game changer. Going back to Facebook, it has become like, I mean, social media in general, you know, it has become a good sort of customer feedback platform. But in most cases also, customers complain on social media about brands when there's a service failure.
Yes.
You know, you hardly get good feedback, you know, when you've done really good. But when you've done exceptionally well, that's also when you get, like, there's like two extremes. There's no middle ground when most customers give feedback on social media. If you deliver on the expectation, okay, kudos, you know, sharp. I mean, I paid you and you delivered, okay, happiness. But if you go overboard, then I'm like, actually, this is worth making noise about and telling other people to say, actually, you know, I went to a particular filling station and I got this pleasant surprise, you know. In marketing terms, we always speak about surprise and delight. You know, every now and then, you know, because then it makes your customers happy and they make noise. But then also when you under-deliver or you deliver an appalling service, then they take on to social media to say, nah, don't go there. They don't treat their customers right or whatever. You know, I ordered this, but what they delivered was something else. So it's important, again, to have that. And every now and then in your journey as a business person, also think about ways that you always, you know, have that element of surprise to your customers so that you create that excitement, you know. In as much as, it's all good and well to have a happy customer, you know, but it can always make your customers happier, you know, and that's what it is about. Customer service, it's also not like a once-off thing. It's an ongoing thing. And also it needs to be at the core of your company. You know, everyone in your organization needs to know that when it comes to our customer, we pull all stops. You know, Yeah, and that's the important thing with customer service, is that organizations that put their customers at the center, they win.
And you know what I've seen in my experiences, great customer service can take even a mediocre experience and make a customer have such a positive perception about it. So how would you say businesses can improve their customer service? What are some steps that they can take?
I mean, first and foremost, I think the feedback loop that we're talking about, you need to, otherwise, I mean, there's this saying that don't fix what's not broken. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, in terms of improving your customer service, feedback is essential. You need to know how your customers feel about the service that you've rendered, and also find ways you can improve. There's no better way than learning from your customers. For example, if a service is meant to take 15 minutes and it takes longer, communication then also becomes an important part of customer service. When you anticipate that things are going to take longer than usual, you communicate to your customers to create and manage the expectation. Because at the end of the day, it's all about expectation.
Yeah.
I mean, if Uber, the reason why Uber actually won over meter taxis and all of that, I mean, the fact that I can see how far my ride is, it puts me at ease than just not knowing and calling a meter taxi every 5 minutes. Like, where are you? Can't you move? Like, no, I'm 5 minutes away. I'm 5 minutes away. And at the end of the day, you waste your time. So communication is important, and just also being transparent. Transparency is also another key factor when it comes to, if things cost X amount, things cost X amount, and you need to communicate that, and customers need to see. That's a very important part of customer service.
Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to catch us on the next installment of Understanding Your Business Better. A big thank you to our sponsors, Telkom Business, as well as our guest, Mr. Pat Mahlangu from Lerato Agency. Catch us next time as we dive into having the adequate tools to get the adequate results for your business.